I upload a different video for one day away from the news roundups, and yeah, let's just say a lot of juicy news drops. So today, we've got to go over what is going on in the land of Superman Legacy, from the suit logo, a new cast member, all kinds of other interesting tidbits that you're probably like, Boba, why haven't you spoken about it yet? We've got the Batman 2 updates, definitely things I think we need to discuss, and a bunch of other things, like Batman Beyond. There's some intriguing things that went down with that, or what could be going down, or what could have been going down, and you'll see what I mean if you don't know what I'm talking about. Timestamps, as always, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to skip around the topics of this video, but as always, I recommend sticking around for all of it so you're up to date on all of my takes. Like the video if you do want to support the channel, tell YouTube that you're enjoying the content, but let's get into the most pressing news. The most pressing news, actually, before we do, right before filming this video, we had David Zaslav say in the Warner Brothers earnings call that Superman Legacy begins filming next week. And that's kind of like, really? I mean, you know, next week, I guess technically 1 week from now, it is March 1st, which, as we know, the reason why I say is because James Gunn said Superman Legacy begins filming in March, so next week, you know, if it's early on in the week, obviously it's still February. But what a lot of people are pointing out is that, well, you know, the first day of shooting maybe could, if David Zaslav is exactly right here. For all I know, by the time I'm uploading this, James Gunn may have corrected what Zaslav said in the earnings call. Next week is February 29th, Superman's birthday, which, as we know, to do with the whole leap year thing, is a day that only occurs every 4 years. So what if the 29th is the first official day, even if kind of low-key day of shooting when they're really ramping up Superman's birthday, and what if, ladies and gentlemen, on Superman's birthday, the potential day of shooting, we get a little bit of a teaser. And I'm more about that teaser in just a second, with all of the other things that we need to get into with regards to, my God, I think it's some of the biggest developments, technically, that we've had so far on Superman Legacy. Zaslav also said that Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow has already got a completed script. The thing is, Gunn basically said that back in November when he welcomed Ana Nogueira to the DC Studios family. He said that she's an amazing writer whose screenplay adaptation of Woman of Tomorrow is above and beyond anything. Now, a screenplay and a script isn't identical, but if anything, a screenplay is like more in depth. So I wouldn't say this is like mind-blowing news. I wanted to include that quickly before we dived into the biggest stories today, because I know somebody would be like, but why didn't you talk about what Zaslav said about Supergirl? But anyway, guys, yesterday, from making this video, a table read, the table read that we've been talking about for a couple of weeks now, took place, and all kinds of goodies came out of this. So not only did we get this cast photo with James Gunn, but more on that in a second. Trust me, I've got quite a few things to say about that. I mean, look at Clark and Lex in the background there. But this is where, on that table read day, we got a few name cards posted by Isabella Merced, who is, of course, playing Hawkgirl, and Maria Riela de Fria, who's playing the Engineer, and Sarah Sampaio's Eve Teschmacher. So all of these name cards on the table. You can imagine on a long table, everyone's got their name card, they're sat where they're supposed to be sat. And the fascinating thing, as you may have already observed yourself, is that there's a logo on this name card. The Kingdom Come Superman logo. Now, as you can imagine, this has led many people to believe that this could be what Gunn is using for his Superman Legacy movie, his David Corenswet Superman. This could be the House of L symbol, right? Now, this is for a few reasons, you know, as to why people are starting to believe this, because you could just be like, oh, they could have slapped any Superman logo on there, right? Well, those name card posts, yeah, you know how they posted them on Instagram? Deleted. But the internet, once on the internet, always on the internet. I'm sorry, Gunn, I have to show it here. It was in the public. I'm showing it, you know? It's out there. The deletion's not going to do much for you. But in all seriousness, it actually looks like they may have jumped the gun by posting those name cards, because, again, why would they have been requested to be deleted on their social media unless just maybe there was something that they didn't really want to get out there, such as what if that actually is a design they're using in the movie as Superman's frickin' symbol, his emblem, his crest on his chest. I swear to God, I'm not intending to rhyme here. But really, I think that could be the case. This also matches up with the many, many teasers that, if you're not new here to the channel, I've been going on about since November of 2022, ever since James Gunn came in as co-head of DC Studios, with regards to the multiple Kingdom Come teasers that he's given. Now, before we dive into that a little bit more, we also have some people pointing out something in where just a few days ago on Reddit, there was a comment that slipped by people's attention, but now it's being revisited as the account, of which also seems to be a bit of a Reddit burner account, no other posts whatsoever, claimed as follows, right? I'll share some suit details I haven't seen mentioned. The S is styled after the Kingdom Come shield, just in yellow and red instead of red and black. It looks simple from a distance, but has cool panel lines. The emblem is smooth, not that messy textured style from Man of Steel. The concept art had red trunks, but I don't know if it made it to the final suit. This is all I'm going to answer for now. This was said before we even got the name card revealing the Kingdom Come logo. And now this dude is saying that it's going to be the Kingdom Come logo before the table read, except it's not going to have the black and red to it. It's going to have the most popular red and yellow colors, right? Just with the Kingdom Come design. Something like what you're seeing on screen here by the brilliant artist known as Jackson Durr. Just wanted to throw this tidbit out there because this user did call this and said that they have details that they haven't seen mentioned. And then lo and behold, the clues that we're getting that were deleted. The actors posted them and then deleted them. And you would only do that, I imagine, not because, oh, it's got my name on it and it says I'm playing Hawkgirl or something public information. Oh, it must be the symbol. Do you know what I mean? So it could very well be, ladies and gentlemen, that we're getting the red and yellow Kingdom Come symbol in Superman Legacy. I would prefer the red and black, and then, as I said, as we progress throughout the DCU, Corin Sweat Superman gets the red and yellow, but hey, I'm very happy with this. I absolutely love the aesthetic, the design to the Kingdom Come Superman kind of S, if you will. But if you want to believe this guy, and hypothetically, let's just assume this is true, he's also saying that the concept art had red trunks, but he is admitting that might not have made it actually into the final suit. It's the kind of thing where you have loads of concept arts, and there's trunks, there's no trunks, etc., etc. There's no kind of, very in-depth textured design like what we had with Snyder's Man of Steel emblem for Superman, and it's more just smooth. It's a smooth Kingdom Come. So I imagine more like Brandon Routh's, just red and yellow. Now, as for this last part to the Kingdom Come thing with regards to Superman Legacy, what I wanted to share is a post that I actually made yesterday on Twitter. Go follow me there. And if I do say so myself, I don't think I've ever had a tweet blow up this much. It's now got over 5,000 or 6,000 likes. And I just wanted to get my opinion out there on what's going on here and what could be going on because I uploaded a different video yesterday. Go check it out, especially if you're a fan of the Batman Part 2. But I wanted to share this because it seems to have been making the rounds. A lot of people are getting on board with it in terms of what I actually think could be maybe going down loosely in Superman Legacy. So I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're a long-term member here on the channel or subscriber, you might have already heard something like this. But anyway, let's quickly go over this before we get into the next thing very briefly. So Corin Sweat's Superman lives in a world where heroes exist and have existed. A literal quote from James Gunn, right? The reverse Kingdom Come theory I've discussed for a long time now centers around a loose adaptation of how the world has been used to heroes, but also wannabe heroes, akin to Kingdom Come, in where the world is flooded with anti-heroes who don't remotely play by the rule book, for example, that the Justice League would, even though the Justice League might not be a thing right now, but you get the point. Since this is also a world in which views kindness as old-fashioned, another quote from James Gunn, I've also said that I believe David Corin Sweat's Superman will be like the older Superman returning to the world in that story. It's just in Gunn's version, his growing popularity, as this isn't an origin story, will set a new precedent for what it means to be a hero, a new legacy, if you will. So then I went on to say I wouldn't be surprised if there's endorsed heroes like the Engineer, a member of the Authority that is, as we know of whom is in the film. I bet Luthor loves this and despises the idea of someone like Superman rising up and out of anyone's control, right? Not regulated, not endorsed or anything like that. Like maybe, just maybe the engineer is before she goes to form the Authority and gets her own movie, right? I can imagine Lois is one of the few who isn't so happy with how disenfranchised the world is with heroes and the seeming acceptance of anti-heroes who will do anything by any means necessary, as you see in the pages of the Kingdom Come comic book. And of course, as a result, is quite an advocate of this Man of Steel's new example. Of course, there are other heroes out there doing a good job, but the world is overrun with metas who give everyone attempting true justice just a bad name, similar to the status quo, again, in Kingdom Come. So there are other like-minded heroes from that of Mr. Terrific, Hawkgirl, you can extend this over to Batman and whatnot, but again, imagine the Kingdom Come somewhat climate, but back when Superman is younger. It's important to understand when going into this that this DCU is hitting the ground running. Heroes, villains, and metas have existed for God knows how long. Clark is likely inspired by heroes of old, such as the Justice Society of America. This has been a living and breathing DC Universe for a while now. And then I just go and say that this has just been my thoughts and speculation on what could be going down in Superman Legacy ever since Gunn teased Kingdom Come when he came in as co-head of DC Studios. I also then go on to say and clarify Corin Sweat Superman wouldn't be returning like he does in Kingdom Come, because in the Kingdom Come storyline, Superman returns to restore order at an older age after going inactive for a long time. For example, the loose adaptation in the DCU would be Superman bringing about this new order, this new status quo of what it means to be a hero and how to act in his early years in the come-up of how he's rising in popularity. And also, one more thing to heavily stress here that I wanted to add on, just because Superman Legacy could be inspired by Kingdom Come, it doesn't mean it will be an adaptation, like one-to-one freaking adaptation. It won't be. I mean, it could borrow things, as I've said, like the symbol, the conduct of heroes / anti-heroes in Kingdom Come's storyline, Superman bringing about this new legacy, or the legacy of old in that case, and in this DCU case, because maybe he looks to the days of the JSA and how they were real heroes, but what's happened to the world in the 2010s and 2020s, I need to rise up and, set this new precedent out there. But Lois Lane dying? No. Superman losing his faith? No, quite the opposite. Magog? Probably not, but there could be a Magog-esque figure. We're going to have to wait and see, but I would love to know your thoughts on that. Not trying to blow smoke up my own arse here, but a lot of people seem to be resonating with this theory, and I really wanted to just deliver it, even though I have done before in the discussion series, but in the news roundup for those who may not have heard it just yet. Now, going back to the cast photo here, we recognize pretty much everyone there. I mean, look at Nicholas Hoult. He's had his hair shaved now. He's getting into Luthor mode. Finally see Corin Sweat, who's been evading sightings everywhere. Are we sure that he isn't playing Batman? That's something that I see people saying quite a lot. But you may have noticed that there's an addition with Terrence Rosemore playing the character of Otis, of whom you may be familiar with from the past, such as, he's been like Lex Luthor's henchman / assistant. I guess you could say almost this somewhat punching bag, so to speak, especially with Gene Hackman's Lex Luthor. He's basically the guy who's in the shadow of their boss, and I think that will be maintained in Superman Legacy here. I mean, you may have seen him in Young Justice, in where he was a part of Lex Luthor's security team, and in the comics, he's mainly just been given the role of LexCorp's security guard, similar to the Young Justice thing, I suppose. But here, when you kind of combine it with Eve Teschmacher being in this movie as well, you look back at, the Donna Superman, and now you've got Otis, Teschmacher, Luthor. I think Gunn's going to kind of give a bit of tribute to what we saw back then. I mean, after all, he loves Superman the movie, and I'm not saying it's going to be exactly the same or it's going to be as cheesy as the demeanor of those characters back then, so to speak. I can really imagine, actually, Otis maybe even playing a pivotal role in the film. I mean, considering that he was at the table read, and Gunn said that not necessarily everyone's going to be at the table read, just kind of people who need to be there, like for the intimate reading roles. So, Jonathan and Martha Kent, or well, how can they not be in a movie, right? They don't have to be at the table read, but Otis is. Now, that makes me think, obviously, we're going to see him quite a bit, especially as, he's going to be around Luthor quite a bit, but maybe he's going to be playing a pivotal role in where, I don't know, something like where he learns something pretty dark that could be going on in LexCorp. Maybe he's crucial to Lois and Clark and whatever their building up this story with or reporting on, maybe with regards to LexCorp or Luthor. Again, that's based on absolutely nothing. Maybe you could argue, why would Otis betray his loyalty to Luthor despite how much shite Luthor gives him? I'm not sure, but I find it very fascinating that he attended the table read. And of course, you also have the haircut of Maria Riella de Frias, the engineer. Very, very much so looking like, I mean, she looks basically like a spitting image, live action version of the engineer. I mean, you would hope so, right? But they did a really good job there. I think that's everything I've got to say about what recent news happened with Superman Legacy. Just expand on what I said. Offer me your own ideas, theories, speculation. You know what to do down in the comments below. But moving on to the Batman Part 2. So we have some tidbit updates with regards to the script and Barry Keoghan's Joker. In an interview with Variety, Jeffrey Wright has been asked about coming back to play Jim Gordon in the Batman Part 2. And it says here, regarding his upcoming role in the Batman 2, Wright humorously offers little to no details. Here's the beginning, middle, and end laid out for you, he begins. I have not read a script. I have not received the script. I am waiting patiently. But I'll tell you what, as soon as I get it, I'll call you. I'll send a copy right over to you. On the off chance that Matt Reeves hears this, the hairs on the back of his neck are going to stand up. And I believe he's had a couple of interviews more or less saying this same thing. Ladies and gentlemen, Bat family out there, it's going to be okay. No, but really, it really does kind of make people feel like, oh, okay, like, yeah, sure, we heard that Matt Reeves hadn't handed in a script a little while ago now with what James Gunn replied to people on Threads with, but he's still, you know, we're about to enter March, and it's still, like, as far as we can tell, hasn't been, you know, slammed down on the table, submitted, let's go. And behind the scenes, I'm still hearing that there's still, take this for what you will, like grain of salt. Like, again, this is just a rumor, that there hasn't been any major word on, you know, even pre-production phases really gearing up to go. You would have thought people who may have been in the feelers to receive that information would start getting word when about the script is going to be done and casting would be underway. They're starting to, you know, eventually get into all of the pre-production phases, and then like the big phase would be obviously starting to build certain sets that need to be built for Part 2, maybe new locations. Like, none of that has even started. And obviously, when you start work like that, it takes a few months to be done. Now, granted, you know, they might have saved some time with production on the Batman Part 1, you know, with some locations. But if there's a slightly new suit, there's new designs of this, again, new locations, that stuff needs to be done a little bit in advance. For example, I believe with the first movie, it started around June, July, and the sets and pre-production part of the main part of pre-production of building stuff like that wasn't completed until January. That took months. So even if it doesn't take as long, arguably, if you want to argue that for Part 2, I believe by now we would have heard from a major trade some kind of scoop, a massive headline, and this is something that they're not really, you know, the studio wouldn't be scared or shy of announcing anyway, that Matt Reeves is, you know, Part 2 of the Batman has been submitted, the script has been submitted, casting will be soon underway, and it's eyeing a production date of X month. Do you know what I mean? That's the kind of thing that is very, very typical to see. So the fact that we haven't got that, and Jeffrey Wright is once again hammering in that he hasn't even read a script. Well, it looks as though Matt Reeves is either writing it still, or maybe by the time I post this video, it's a kind of, in my opinion, as I keep saying recently with a lot of things, an any day now and any week now thing. So maybe any day now or any hour now, we could finally hear that announcement, but that it will be done, or it has been done. So finally, the wheel starts moving, but I guess he's cooking away. It's important to remember the strikes really did hinder progress. Please don't forget that. Also, Matt Reeves does take his time from what we do know about him. Now, at this point, if time does keep going on, like we get into March, so on and so forth, and the script still hasn't been announced, and there's no peep from which you would bet your ass the Hollywood Reporter to Deadline to Variety to whoever would talk about it if it was done, and casting would be expected to happen soon, if that was even a thing. So if time keeps going on without that information, without those reports coming out, then yes, I would expect a delay. And I'm only saying this now because we are getting on a little bit. Then, yeah, it could go into 2026. I would be hoping that maybe they could just delay it till November, December, maybe that month or two, given if they started production by the mid to late summer this year, it could be done. Or should I say they could still meet maybe a November, December release date with the post-production that they would need to do and maybe 3 to 5 months of shooting. We'd have to wait and see. But again, if time keeps going on, maybe it could be pushed back to similar to like October 2021, the Batman release date. But nope, it was pushed back to March of 2022. So I don't want to put any fear out there. It's just, yeah, I'm starting to raise an eyebrow now. But if you want a Batman Part 2 fix, again, shameless plug here, check out yesterday's video. I go over the top wants and needs from that of the collective fandom for the Batman Part 2. And yeah, I really enjoyed making that video. But in the Batman Part 2 related news, if you will, a lot of people are taking what Vanity Fair said here and are just running with it. So one of the questions they had in an interview with Barry Keoghan, who plays the Joker, they said, looking ahead, you've got the miniseries Masters of the Air, and you're also, and this is the key part, and you're also playing the Joker in DC's The Batman 2. What do you want your career to look like going forward? And then he basically answers the general question of the latter part, what do you want your career to look like moving forward, and doesn't address the Joker part. But people are taking what this writer of this article, this interview, if you will, said here, the interviewer, as Vanity Fair have confirmed that Barry Keoghan is returning to the role of the Joker in the Batman Part 2. And on a technicality, that isn't true. That's more of an opinion from them saying, you know, and you're also playing the Joker in DC's The Batman 2. But that's never been officially confirmed. Vanity Fair hasn't put out a headlined article separate to this saying, oh, we know from sources this is 1000% happening. I think the thing is here, what really is the case is that it's an assumed thing. And I don't blame the interviewer for assuming that to be the case, because Barry Keoghan in the past couple of months, twice, the best response he gave when being asked about returning to the role of the Joker was, I can't really talk about that, man. My smile says it all, if you know what I mean. I basically would bet money that Barry Keoghan's coming back on top of his literal low-key indirect confirmation. Yeah, he basically is coming back. But no, technically Vanity Fair did not confirm this. But again, as a result of this, you get news accounts and outlets saying that they did, but technically they didn't. But okay, moving on. In a very, very exciting Batman, but not the Batman related story that I didn't get to cover the other day, because when I uploaded my video, typically news tends to drop when I drop my videos. It's like I'm a good luck charm, but it's also a blessing and a curse. It always happens. But either way, Batman Beyond. Guys, if you know me, what's the one thing I've said that I want to happen with DC? I said that we need a theatrical animated film likened to that of the Spider-Verse films, right? Into the Spider-Verse, Across the Spider-Verse, you name it. Now, I'm not saying it should, like, literally copy the animation, but I do love it. You know, it's the same way with that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles film. It's not identical, but it's similar. I love that. And I had seen these demo reels of people trying to make, and I can't remember who it was from the top of my head, but they've made like a Batman Into the Spider-Verse-esque animation-styled Batman clip, and it was amazing. So I'm like, we need that. We need it. How can we not have that? How have they not done that? It is a no-brainer. Well, lo and behold, here we have Yuki Demos saying, and he's a production designer at Netflix, visual development on Spider-Verse 1 and 2, and this kind of broke the Batman community on the internet. 5 months ago, Patrick Harpin walked into Warner Brothers Pictures and DC Official and pitched a Batman Beyond animated feature. Before we pitched, they warned us, there is absolutely no way we can do a Beyond movie, but they loved our enthusiasm. We pitched the outline for the entire film, and what started as a never turned into a maybe. In the time since, we've been pitching our way up the company, hoping to get to James Gunn. But for now, here's a taste of what we've been cooking. And they literally share, I guess you could arguably say that this is concept art for the movie if it would have ever, or if it ever does get picked up. And they also go and say, from writer/director Patrick Harpin, my dad, the bounty hunter, and production designer and producer Yuki Demos, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. And look at the pieces. Oh my god, that looks so good. It looks so good. I think I'm so obsessed with this idea because I just think Gotham, whether it's a Batman Beyond story or like a present-day Batman, would look amazing in this animation style. I know a lot of people immediately would be like, oh, don't do the whole, you know, Spider-Verse animation style. I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with that if they mirror it, like take inspiration, but still try and make it their own. I mean, after all, it'd be coming from the literal production designer and producer of, you know, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse and Across the Spider-Verse. So, guys, I'm obsessed with this. I would love this to happen. Also, fun fact about James Gunn is that one of his favorite comic book movies is actually Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. And he's also recently said that he wants the Spider-Verse writers, you know, obviously Phil Lord and Christopher Miller, to work on a DCU project. So, I mean, you know, again, it's not a guaranteed thing, but it's just like the fact that this Batman Beyond project has been pitched and they're going up the ladder again, up the ladder again. It's just like, how has it not got the attention of Gunn soon? Make this your first animated Warner Brothers DC theatrical, going to the actual movies to see this animated movie thing. Like, get your own Spider-Verse, bro. You've got literally so many characters to capitalize on there. I mean, hell, you don't even have to do it about Batman. Do it with this kind of, you know, animation with these creators, but make it, I keep saying this, but a JSA thing. Make it badass. Make it about, I don't know, a different character. But, I mean, I would love a Batman Beyond one. But, yeah, let me know what you guys think. All I can do is gush over it. The concept art just looks so good. I think they knew what they were doing here. The fact that they shared 3 pieces just makes me want the movie so badly. And it borderline makes me frustrated at the lack of, you know, vision for, like, what the hell are you doing? Now, to be fair, I'm not behind closed doors. Who knows what Gunn's got cooking in terms of maybe potential projects just like this. But if they don't, then that's a slap on the wrist. What are you doing? Contact these people right now. Either way, guys, I'm going to end this news roundup here. It's been, as usual, a very rambly one. I want to hear each and every flipping thought down in that comment section below. Go ahead and like this video if you did enjoy it. Thank you so much for your support on the channel. I really do appreciate it. I love geeking out with you guys about the DCU, and just make sure you're subscribed if you want to stay up to date on any minor to large update in the future, because we've got an exciting year or two ahead of us with the production of several things going down and the release of several other things such as the Penguin and Joker and whatnot. So hope you're here for the ride. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see you people of the DCU in the next video. Goodbye.